Okay, so I'm going to show you how to do a break-even analysis using Google Sheets. And what you need to do is you obviously need a new Google Sheet. So how you do that is you go to Google Drive and you click on New and Google Sheets. And I've got one I made earlier. So I've got a spreadsheet, hopefully. And this disappears. Not playing ball. There we go. So that's my sheet so far. And you need something set up like this. You need selling price, cost of sale, and then you need another table here saying total revenue, volume, variable costs, fixed costs, and total costs. So pause that. They're your headings you need. If you're not sure how to do these grid lines, I will show you. So I'm just take the grid lines off, and it's pretty straightforward. Remove those, and so you've got no grid lines. Let's add them in. You want 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 columns for this one, and then just 2 columns for that one. And we'll explain what all of these different things mean in a second. Now, the only values you're going to have to begin with when you're creating your break-even analysis are going to be the volume, right? So, and the different things, the selling price and the cost of the sale. So the selling price is what you charge the customer when you sell them the item, and the cost of the sale is what it costs you to get that item into stock so you can sell it. So if you look at a sort of very gross level, gross profit level, we're making 40p profit on this. Okay, I'm going to imagine now when I'm doing this break-even analysis that I'm doing it on a cake sale. So in order to sell my cakes, I need to work out what it's going to cost me overall. And we're going to work out the break even, which is the point where all of your costs put together are mapped out against the amount of money you're making, and you're going to work out where you're exactly covering the costs by selling the products. So what money you're making on selling and where that exactly comes into covering your costs. Are you covering costs? And that's what break even means. So if I spend £100 and I make £100 back, exactly, that's breaking even. So we need to work out some of these values here, and I'll explain each as we go through. By the way, first of all, you don't write the pound signs in here. I'll show you how that sort of thing's done. So I'm just going to over format this just very quickly. Don't do this, by the way. I'm just sort of fixing something for you. So I've put £1 and I've put 0.6 in. And how I've got the pound sign to appear by both of them, I've highlighted these cells and I've gone to that 1, 2, 3 there, and I've gone to pound sign there. If the pound sign doesn't appear and you've got a dollar instead, all you need to do is go to the same little menu again, number formats, more currencies, and select pound. Can be simpler. We'll do that for all of the other cells as well. So just make sure they're all the pounds. I already did this previously, to be fair, but you can do the same thing. Just making sure all the things you want are pounds, apart from the volume, because that number there represents like physical quantities of the product. So how many, that's 20 cakes being sold, that's 40 cakes being sold. We want to work out where exactly we are breaking even, how many cakes we need to sell in order to start making profit or cover our costs. So the first thing we need to know is how much money are we actually making, and that's called total revenue. And all I do is type equals, and I get my selling price. This is what I'm charging the customers on the till, and I just click on it. So you see equals H3, H3. And I multiply that by holding Shift and the number 8 on my keyboard, where I get a little star, which is called an asterisk, which actually comes from the ancient Greek for star. Aster is the ancient Greek for star, which is why we call it an asterisk. And I use that to multiply that by the volume. Press enter. And as you notice, selling none of these products at £1 each gives me £0 because I'm not selling anything. If I do it again though, equals the selling price multiplied by the volume, press enter, I'm now making £20 because I'm selling them at £1 and I'm selling 20. If I was to sell 40, selling price of £1, my volume at 40 multiplied by the selling price at £1 would give me £40. So that's my total revenue. So if I sold 40 cakes, I'd be taking £40 on the till, and that's my total revenue. Revenue is the money we're taking. Okay, we now need to work out something called variable costs, which are where we take that cost of sale. That 60p there represents all the flour, all the bits of egg, all the bits of sugar, all the bits of chocolate chips that are going into that one cake. Okay, and we multiply that by the amount of cakes sold, so we get our variable costs. So that cost of sale means for one of those items how much it costs me to buy or produce. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same sort of thing again, equals the volume multiplied by the cost of sale. So it's going to cost me £0 to sell 0 cakes. If I wanted to sell 20 cakes, I need to multiply the amount I'm planning on selling by, so we can use that little asterisk again, by the cost of sale. And it's costing me £12 in order to be able to sell 20 cakes. But currently I'm making £8 profit, which isn't too bad. So I'm selling them, I'm getting £20 on the till, but it's only costing me £12 to sell them. But there's a little bit of a cloud to that silver lining, and I'll show you in a minute. Equals the volume multiplied by the cost of sale. So that's £24, but I'm making £40. Oh, that looks really good, doesn't it? But it isn't, right? In order to run my business, I also need something called fixed costs. So that's going to be the cost of making my posters. That's going to be the cost of having somewhere to pitch. So say if you run a big company, you need a place of business, you need to rent somewhere. So those are fixed costs, maybe gas bills and electricity bills. For a small enterprise, you need to have something called marketing materials, and also maybe stationery and aprons and things like that. So what you do is you just put in how much that all comes together. You should have researched that as part of your project. So I'm going to put £10 into a fixed cost for my bake sale, and it doesn't change depending on how many products are sold. It's always going to be the same. It's always going to be £10 to buy a set of aprons and produce a set of posters. Following putting the fixed costs in, as I said, these are the things that you don't change in terms of price depending on how many products you sell. They stay the same, like the cost of your table, the cost of your posters, etc. We now have the total costs. Now the total costs are created by adding the variable to the fixed. So for each amount of items sold, we add the variable to the fixed costs. And that gives us what we're paying in total for everything. So for this one, we type equals, we click on the variable costs, we add, this time, shift and plus, if you can find that on the keyboard, the two together. So variable plus fixed, again, equals variable plus fixed, equals variable plus fixed. So that now tells us for 20 items, we're spending £22 in total because we're adding the variable cost to the fixed costs, the £12 to the £10. For 40 items, we're spending £34 in total. So if you look here, overall, we're making a profit when we sell 40 items, but we're not when we sell 20. So there's somewhere in between 20 items being sold and 40 items being sold is your break-even point. Obviously, we're making £6 profit when we sell 40. So our net profit, our total profit overall is going to be £6 in total. So what you need to do now, and I'm going to do this in the next video, is producing a graph, or actually a chart, a break-even chart, based on this data. And that will be what I do next.